What's up, my petty files? Now, originally when I was in the process of writing the script for my previous Diddy video, I had the intention of writing a script that covers the entirety of all of Diddy's allegations since the beginning of time, because trust me, there are a numerous amount of them. So you can consider this a bit of a prequel to my last video. If you want to check out what did Diddy do in the two most recent allegations, check out that video that's playing on screen right now on my channel. And with that being said, let's jump into what did Diddy do before the two most recent allegations? City College of New York. On December the 28th, 1991, rapper Heavy D and Diddy would host a basketball game at the City College of New York. More than 5,000 fans would show up to the event, with the gym's capacity was only 2,730. The excess fans would be denied entry, but ended up bum rushing the building regardless. This would lead to the fans being bottlenecked down a flight of stairs, with the front of the pack being tragically trampled, leaving 29 injured and 9 dead. Then Mayor David Dinkins, how he ever got elected with that name is beyond me. Then Mayor David Dinkins would release a 67-page report titled A Failure of Responsibility, pinning the blame on Diddy for hiring inexperienced security guards. Just to be completely transparent, yes, Diddy did only hire 20 security guards, but there was also 38 campus security on the grounds, as well as at least 66 NYPD officers that were hired as well. Diddy would make an undisclosed settlement to the victims' families, closing the case in the year 2000. Big Jake. During the mid-1990s, hip-hop had a bit of a Cold War going on, an East versus West, if you will, which tragically ended with the death of the rap game's arguably two biggest stars, the notorious B.I.G. and Tupac. Biggie would be signed to Bad Boy Entertainment, and Tupac was signed to Death Row Records, which were run by Diddy and Suge Knight respectively. So here we have two gangster rappers holding entire coasts on their back, while who's pulling the strings, amplifying it out to the masses as a form of literal guerrilla marketing? Two gangsters LARPing as record executives. Back in 1995, Suge Knight and Diddy's relationship had already begun to fracture. One incident that played a huge role of turning the manufactured fracturing of the coast into all-out warfare was the shooting of Jake Robles, aka Big Jake. Robles, aka Big Jake, was a close personal friend and bodyguard to Suge Knight. One night at record producer Jermaine Dupri's birthday party, taking place at Atlanta hotspot Club Platinum, an altercation would break out between Diddy and Suge's crew, who had both been attending the event, with the repercussions of this altercation being the murder of Big Jake. Chris Howard, an off-duty Fulton County Sheriff's deputy, had witnessed the entire altercation and reported it to the police. According to Howard, speaking with the LA Times, an argument had taken place between the two crews, and Howard had escorted Suge's crew outside the club. Quote, Knight's partner was just about ready to get into the limo when all of a sudden, Puffy's guys came around the corner, and one of them had a gun. Howard tried to detain the armed assailant, but the gun had been passed to another one of Diddy's crew members, Big Wolf, who would allegedly shoot Robles 2 to 3 times. This alleged shooter then jumped into one of Diddy's cars and took off as Robles was left for dead. To this day, this case has gone unsolved. In 2023, Gene Deal had done an interview with The Art of Dialogue, who dispelled that it was since deceased Big Wolf who had pulled the trigger, and mentioned that Suge had allegedly slapped Dupree that night, alluding to the shooter being someone in Dupree's camp. Steve Stoute. On April the 6th, 1999, Diddy was featured on Nas's hit record, Hate Me Now. A video was shot and debuted on MTV on April the 15th, 1999. This version that was played only one time in 1999 featured scenes of Diddy being crucified alongside Nas. Diddy was irate with the miscommunication, as he had asked Nas's manager Steve Stoute to remove those scenes from the video prior to it being released. That version of the video had been lost to time until a Reddit user named Grigio Guy posted it to r/Lost Media in 2023. After the video originally aired, Diddy and two goons would barge into Steve's office and attack him with a bottle of alcohol. Probably Ciroc. Because can't stop, won't stop. Stoute would sue Diddy in June of 99, with Diddy pleading guilty to second-degree assault charges on September the 8th, 1999. He was ordered to pay Stoute $500,000 in damages and serve a one-day sentence in anger management. During an interview with MTV, Diddy would comment on the assault by saying, quote, "I basically went to his office, and what happened in his office, I really can't speak about. But I can say this, the way I handled myself in his office was completely wrong. I've since apologized to Steve about that, and I feel like, I just disappointed myself." Shyne. On December 27th, 1999, Diddy, then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, and bad boy entertainment rapper Shyne were attending a party at Club New York located in Times Square. As per usual, some sort of verbal altercation had broken out between local Brooklyn gangster Matthew Allen, aka Scar, and Diddy. Guns were drawn by Diddy, Scar, and Shyne, who was trying to protect his meal ticket. Shyne would open fire in the middle of the Manhattan nightclub, injuring 3 unrelated civilians. Shyne and Diddy would flee the scene, only to be arrested later that night. During the trial, Shyne would claim that he had fired into the air. Eyewitness and ballistic experts testified that the shots injuring the 3 civilians may have come from a second shooter. Diddy hired Johnny Cochran as his legal defense, the same lawyer that got OJ off, RIP. Diddy was found not guilty on all the serious charges, including attempted murder, though he would be found guilty on 4 of the weapons-related charges, as he was found with 2 9mm when he was arrested. He was also charged with bribing the driver of the car to claim that the firearms belonged to him. Shyne, on the other hand, not so lucky. He'd be charged with 2 counts of assault, reckless endangerment, and criminal possession of a firearm, being sentenced to 10 years in jail, all before his debut album would be released. Diddy would get off with nothing more than a slap on the wrist, while Shyne would ruin his rap career, spend a decade behind bars, and become Jewish. Or maybe Muslim. I don't know, something happened in jail. Rogelio Mills. In 1999, Diddy would do a radio interview on WCHK 105.9 in Detroit, Michigan with Rogelio Mills. During the interview, Mills would ask Diddy about the conspiracy that he was behind the murder of former Bad Boy star, the Notorious B.I.G. This would anger Diddy, and he would leave the interview abruptly.
Y'all finished or y'all done? I ain't got no more talking. Let's rock.
Mills would claim that Diddy sent his goon squad to beat him up and steal the tapes of the interview. In 2004, Judge Wendy Baxter would not allow Mills to be able to include a recording he had of a phone conversation between Mills and Bad Boy Vice President Rod Gilliard, who confessed to Diddy ordering the attack on Mills. Judge Wendy Baxter would rule in the favor of Diddy, who'd be found innocent. Mills appealed in 2005, with the court agreeing that the confession tape should have been allowed into evidence, but found that the omission from the original 2004 case was harmless and not sufficient evidence to convict Diddy. Jane Doe. We're gonna speed run a few here because they're all kind of interconnected and they actually just fit like a framing narrative, so let's do that. In 91, Diddy would allegedly take a Jane Doe out for dinner, drug her, and would later grape her in a Harlem recording studio, filming it and showing it to his friends. The allegations would come to light after Cassie had come forward with her case against Diddy. It's also worth noting that this was around the same time a new law came into effect, New York State's Adult Survivors Act. This act would give an extension on SA cases that have surpassed the statute of limitations. This is a 30-year-old case with 0 evidence from an anonymous girl, which is piggybacking off a bigger case which already puts Diddy in this legally vulnerable state. Another Jane Doe claimed that Diddy and singer Aaron Hall did a team raping on her in 1990 or possibly 1991. She also claims that Diddy attacked and choked her days later because he was nervous that she would snitch on him to his then girlfriend. In 2003, our third and final Jane Doe claimed that at the age of 17, she was flown in from Detroit to New York to hang out with Diddy and former Bad Boy president Harve Pierre. But when she arrived, she was drugged and gang raped. In the lawsuit, she claims that she was given, quote, copious amounts of drugs and alcohol, and that she began to lose consciousness as she was gang raped in a bathroom. Diddy would allegedly get first dibs on her, and then watch Harve and another man take their turns. She would pass out in the fetal position on the floor, and when she regained consciousness, she'd be flown back to Detroit. As I mentioned, all three of these Jane Doe cases are piggybacking off the Cassie allegations and are trying to get money out of Diddy, so it's kind of difficult to tell whether these are true or not. National Labor Committee. In 2003, Diddy and his clothing company, Sean John, were accused of running a sweatshop in Honduras by the National Labor Committee. They were alleging that the factory's workers were subjected to body searches and involuntary pregnancy tests. Bathrooms were locked and tightly controlled, forced overtime, and sweatshop wages. I'm a bit conflicted on this one. On one hand, how is Diddy supposed to know what the working conditions are like on a factory that he hired overseas? Well, I guess not technically overseas, but in another continent. When you're a CEO running a bunch of stuff, it's like you can't keep tabs on everything. But on the other hand, the buck does have to stop somewhere. The company was his, so I do get the other side of that coin. But to Diddy's credit on this one, he did acknowledge the allegations, and within a year, allegedly, according to reports, the working conditions at this factory did improve. Diddy, the UK version. In November 2005, UK DJ Richard Dearlove, aka Diddy, sued Diddy, American Diddy, for using the name Diddy. Richard had been going by the stage name Diddy since 1992, 9 years before Diddy did. The High Court of Justice in the UK ruled that Diddy had to pay $10,000 in damages, or maybe pounds, and would be forced to go by P. Diddy, which he still does in the UK to this day. Gerard Rechnitzer. In August of 2007, Gerard Rechnitzer sued Diddy for punching him outside of a Hollywood nightclub. The lawsuit was settled for an undisclosed amount of money in March of 2008, which I buy because one, Diddy is clearly a violent person, and two, Diddy doesn't strike me as the type of person to pay someone off in a lawsuit because it's going to end up costing him less money than going to court, even though he is innocent. Like, he doesn't strike me as someone that takes well to being blackmailed. J. Cole. Diddy and Jay-Z hosted an after-party for the 2013 VMAs. According to Rolling Stone, a visibly intoxicated Diddy confronted Kendrick Lamar about him making the claim that he was the king of New York. This claim was made in his infamous Control verse, which would have been released just weeks before this incident. Diddy tried pouring a drink on Kendrick until the knight in shining armor, J. Cole, stepped in and they got into a scuffle. However, page 6 versions of events said that J. Cole said something inappropriate to Diddy's then girlfriend Cassidy, the two got into a scuffle, and no punches were thrown. Some sort of altercation definitely did go down here, but the true story we'll probably never get. And years later, Diddy would release a parody of the altercation to his Revolt TV YouTube channel. Drake. Back in December 2014, once again, Diddy would get into an altercation at a nightclub. This time at Live in Miami. According to Diddy, no hands were thrown, but many eyewitnesses would confirm that Diddy slapped Drake in the face. In 2015, during a Breakfast Club interview, Diddy would confirm that the misunderstanding was over Drake's song 0 to 100. Produced by Boy Wonder, the beat had initially been given to Diddy, who asked Drake to ghostwrite it for him. But due to a misunderstanding, Drake would release the song on his SoundCloud. Ironically, this track was a diss song against Diddy's boyfriend, Meek Mill, whose beef with Drake had stemmed with accusations of Drake using a ghostwriter. Much like the J. Cole incident, I think this one's gonna be filed under we'll never really know what happened, but it does seem like most sources within the industry can confirm that this did happen. Even Diddy's eternal op 50 Cent would confirm as much on the Breakfast Club. UCLA. Diddy's son Justin played football for UCLA, and in 2005, during a practice, which his father was attending, assistant coach Sal Alassi was allegedly riding Justin pretty hard, saying things like, quote, "I don't care if your dad's here. This is UCLA. I'm going to treat you just like I treat everyone else," according to TMZ. It was further reported that after the practice, Diddy and Justin confronted Alassi in his office, where Diddy would grab Alassi after a heated exchange. Staff would quickly rush in to break up the two parties, which led to Diddy swinging a kettlebell at an intern. Gina Huynh. In 2019, Diddy's ex-girlfriend Gina Huynh would do an interview with Trisha K, detailing her time with the diddler. She claimed that he was physically abusive, one time stomping her in the stomach, and another time punching her in the back of the head. She would also say, quote, "He was mentally, emotionally, and physically abusing me. He would always compare me to Cassie and then tell me that I'm the bad one and she's the good one." And there we have it. That's the entirety of all the Diddy allegations throughout the years. If you want to check out the two most recent ones, once again, check out that video playing on screen right now. I dive into those two pretty in-depthly. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Diddy content. I don't know how much more Diddy content I have in me, but as always, thank you for watching. Free Diddy.